Hey all, my name is Katie and I am your beer coach. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm a bit new too, so bear with me as I learn along with you. Today we are going to talk about tasting a beer like a BJCP Beer Judge. That's the Beer Judge Certification Program. Why should you listen to me on this subject? I am a nationally ranked beer judge along with an Advanced Cicerone, and I have been judging beer competitions for over 10 years now. What we're not going to talk about is filling in the score sheet or how to score the beers just yet. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe to follow along, and we'll cover those subjects at a later date. But if you are ready and you're interested, let's get started and learn how to taste a beer just like a BJCP Beer Judge. So I've grabbed myself an anonymous beer. It is going to be an American style pale ale I'm drinking today. And I have a tulip shaped glass that I'm going to be pouring it into. When I pour this beer, I'm going to pour it straight down into the center of the glass to really release those aromatics and build up a nice head. The advantage to this tulip shaped glass is it's going to help support that head structure and hold it, as well as contain those aromatics, so I can get a really good example of what this beer is going to smell like. The first thing I'm going to do is take a good look at what this beer is going to look like in the glass and look at what the color and the clarity and the head retention are. And then I'm going to go in and take a smell. Wait, Katie, what are you doing? This is one of the biggest mistakes I make when judging beer. I dive nose first into that sample straight away. And this can make you go nose blind to some aromas. They bind to the receptors in your nose, and for some reason then you cannot detect them anymore for up to 30 minutes. It is safer to start farther away and work your way closer in order to detect those smells. Now, don't worry if you're smelling from farther away and you can't smell anything, but make sure you write down or take a mental note of anything you do smell. And if it then dissipates, that doesn't mean it wasn't there. If you detected it, just make sure you make a mental note. Okay, the next aroma detecting technique we're going to use is called the drive-by. You are going to move the beer closer and farther away from your nose, breathing in. You can also swirl the beer to release that aroma into the air while wafting it by. And then of course you can go in for the big smell at the end, making sure we're taking mental notes or physical notes on what we're detecting the whole way through. Another good way to make sure you're getting a fresh smell every time, you can smell your arm to clear your nasal passages and then reassess the smell of the beer. So I keep talking about making mental or physical notes on what you're experiencing. But what does that mean? I am talking about making notes on the components that you are smelling. So what are you smelling in relation to the malt components of the beer? How about the hop components of the beer? In what aromas are you getting from the fermentation characteristics of the beer? Are there any other aromas that stand out that aren't related to any of those components of the beer? And why is aroma taking up so much time in this video? Well, flavor is the combination of aroma and taste. And if we think about it, we only have so many tastes that we can experience, but there are a multitude of aromas that we can experience. So the combination of those two is what gives us flavor, and it is so important to make sure we are experiencing the aroma so we get the full effect of the flavor. But I know, the most fun that beer provides is when we get to drink it. So let's do that now. All right, guys, we are not at the chug it out of the bottle phase yet. We are here to talk about how to taste beer like a beer judge, and that is not the way, although there is a right time and a right place to drink beer any way you like. But there are two more subjects I want to touch on. They are mouthfeel and flavor. I prefer to talk about mouthfeel first, but your preference is your preference. So first, I'm going to touch on the viscosity. So you want to take a nice full sip and make sure it coats the palate. When I'm talking about viscosity, the easiest way for me to discuss it is to compare it to milk. I know that's weird, so bear with me for a second here. You know how skim milk feels on your palate versus 2%, and 2% is definitely different than whole milk. So that's how I think about it in my head. It's definitely because my mom made me finish a cup of milk every night with dinner. Anybody else's? And then we're also thinking about carbonation. Is it really tight and prickly, or is it big bubbles, and does that create a creamy sensation on the palate? And then lastly, there's also astringency to consider. Is it really like tingly and, drying on the side of your palate at the end? I've heard it said that if you use a dry tea bag and suck on it, that's a similar feeling. I know this is also a component in some wines. I do not recommend trying the dry tea bag, but it is a sensation on the palate. Okay, we made it. It is time to assess the sample for taste. So we got to take a sip. Make sure when you take a sip, you're coating your whole palate and you swallow the sample. Beer, you do want to swallow. There is a retronasal experience on beer with the carbonation. And being that it's a little bit lower ABV than most wines, there's less of a risk of becoming over-intoxicated in a beer judging situation versus a wine competition. So as a beer judge, the first thing I'm assessing when I'm taking a sample of beer is the hero flavor and the balance of the beer as compared to the beer style that I'm judging it against, the BJCP beer style. Again, I'm drinking an American Pale Ale today. A couple tips and tricks to really make sure you get the full flavor experience of your beer is to take the sample in your mouth, close it, and swirl it around. That is going to release the CO2 in suspension and make sure you really coat your whole palate. Again, we know that flavor map we had as kids in our textbooks is false, but your taste buds are spread out across your whole tongue and could be distributed differently for every person. So you want to make sure you come in contact with all of them to really experience the beer. Another fun way to really get that retronasal experience is to take a sample in your mouth, close your mouth again, and then as you swallow the sample, breathe out through your nose at the same time. And then again, you're going to really get that aroma burst on the swallow, but it does kind of sometimes feel a little bit like this. One more fun trick to get the most out of your beer sample. Take a small sip, hold it in your mouth, and you can suck in some air over the sample. It'll release some volatile compounds of the beer and bring them back up into your olfactory system. Again, releasing some aroma and flavor compounds that you might not experience in a different way. So really fully experiencing the beer. Now, while we're doing all of these Simon Says type activities with our palates, make sure we're taking mental or physical notes. What are you getting from the malts? Hops? How about from the fermentation? Is there anything different you're getting beyond all of those? And then, since we have the flavor and the aroma all active now, how is the balance? Is this a hoppy beer? Is it a bitter beer? Do you like this beer? How does it compare to the beer style? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're not filling out BJCP score sheets yet. I think we can now enjoy the beer. I've been yammering. I haven't been drinking. So cheers. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed myself. I hope you had a good time too. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, share, and comment below. Let me know what you want to be beer coached on next. Thank you.